And joining us today is our special guest, former law professor and best-selling author, Alan Dershowitz. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So if we're taking a look at this Trump case, what can you say that Alvin Bragg has at this point, if anything?
Well, I say it all in my book, Get Trump. I go through all of the 4 cases against him and come up with 0. In the Bragg case, it's less than 0. People say, oh, well, it was really a misdemeanor and he turned it into a felony. It's not a misdemeanor. It's not even a misdemeanor. What his claim is that if you pay hush money to somebody to prevent your wife and your family and your friends and your clients and your voters from knowing you had an adulterous affair with a former porn star, then you immediately have to put on a public corporate record the fact that you paid hush money to prevent it from coming out. Who would ever do that? It's never been done in history. It never will be done in history. I challenged Bragg to name a single case ever prosecuted for failure to disclose the payment of hush money. It's never happened. It didn't happen from the time Alexander Hamilton paid hush money to avoid his adulterous affair becoming public. It's just a nonsense made-up case.
Were you shocked when the indictment actually happened?
No, I wasn't even surprised because I know about the Get Trump mentality. If he spit on the sidewalk, they would get him for destroying government property. So when you have an attitude of running for office, when you promise your voters, if you vote for me, I will get Trump. That's the title of my book is not original with me. It's the campaign pledge of both the Attorney General and District Attorney of New York to get Trump. So I wasn't surprised. I knew they would try to get him. What shocked me was how thin the indictment was and how it simply didn't state any kind of a case, and how the Get Trump academics rallied around Bragg and saying, oh, it's such a strong case. It's such a strong case. Show me the beef. It's just not there.
Do you think that this is going to undermine the other cases against Trump, January 6th and the documents case, et cetera?
I think it will to some degree. Now, the only plausible case they have is the documents case, if they can show obstruction of justice. They're not going to go after him simply for possession of the documents, because then they'd have to go after Biden and Pence. But they're looking to try to get an obstruction of justice charge against him. The Fulton County case will get nowhere because he said on the tape, I want to find, not to make up or concoct. I want to find votes that were cast but weren't counted. And the January 6th speech, although I disapprove of it thoroughly, he said he wanted the people to go to the Capitol and protest peacefully and patriotically. That's protected by the First Amendment. So I think the weakest case is the New York case. The strongest case is the Florida case. And the other 2 cases aren't particularly strong. And in Get Trump, I go over all of them in great detail and show why this is part of just a Get Trump mentality. And today it's Trump. Tomorrow it's Hunter Biden. The day after tomorrow, it's your Uncle Charlie or your niece.
Why are so few people in the law who've made their life the law staying silent?
Because they don't want to be Dershowitzed. They don't want to be treated the way I've been treated, canceled, lost friends, lost relatives, lost speaking engagements, lost clients because I've defended principle. I wrote another book about that called The Price of Principle, Why Integrity is Worth the Consequences. But everybody knows if you defend Trump, even if you strongly vote against him, as I have on 2 occasions and plan to on a 3rd occasion, you are canceled, particularly from academia. I don't think I could today get invited to speak at Harvard Law School, where I taught for 50 years and had 10,000 students and was one of the most popular teachers in the school. You know, when I defended Trump, that changed everything. I think that probably John Adams wouldn't have been invited to Harvard when he defended the people in the Boston Massacre. Look, he didn't support Boston soldiers any more than I support Donald Trump. But good lawyers, principled lawyers, defend people against illegal or unconstitutional charges.
So is there someone out there who's going to stand up and say something? I mean, you must talk behind closed doors with people in academia, in law circles. Is there anyone that you're counting on who's, besides yourself, who's going to stand up?
No, I'm not. I talk to these people and they tell me I'm right privately, and then publicly they come out the other way. You know, when I made my speech in front of the Senate, where I proved conclusively that the framers of the Constitution intended impeachment only for treason, bribery, or high crimes and misdemeanors, they all knew I was right, but they all said I was wrong, because I was on the wrong side. I picked the wrong horse. And today, in the world of divisiveness, where you have to pick sides, if you're perceived as saying anything that enables Trump, you're perceived as the enemy. And so, no, nobody will come forward in public. They come forward in private. They're, largely a bunch of hypocrites.
Why do people want to get Trump so badly?
Well, they think he's bad for America. And so my answer is vote against him, campaign against him, contribute against him, but don't stretch the Constitution and the criminal law to fit his conduct. That's a serious mistake. Look, for me, Trump did good and did bad. I think I supported him completely on the Abraham Accords, on what he did in the Middle East and other foreign policy accomplishments. And I disagree with him on gay rights, on the woman's right to choose, on climate control, and on a range of other subjects. And that's what democracy is all about. You make a decision who to vote for based on the totality of the circumstances. But if you decide to vote against somebody, that doesn't mean you want him indicted. But many people now do. The president of El Salvador lectured us and said, stop lecturing us on democracy. You're arresting the man who is running against your incumbent president, and you're talking to us about banana republics? Come on. So this is a really serious problem for America, for American foreign policy, and for American domestic policy.
Well, with that, I think we'll wrap it for today. Thank you so much, Alan Dershowitz, best-selling author. The book is Get Trump. Where can people get it? Well, that's the tragedy. They can only get it really on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Independent stores won't sell it. They don't like the side I'm on. They like who I vote for, but they don't like who I defend. So they're not selling the book. So you get it on Amazon. You get it at a discount, too, and you get it on Amazon. And I think if you buy the book, it helps send a message to prosecutors. Abide by the Constitution. Somebody's watching. Somebody's holding you accountable. Thank you so much. Alan Dershowitz, best-selling author, former law professor. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pleasure. Thank you. Thanks.